But I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me here in SEO Nerd Switzerland. I literally sat next to you during an episode, like a year ago now, and it was
Yes.
so much fun then. I just had to come back. I wanted to come back onto the show and share insights and just reconnect with your fantastic audience. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Nick, for being awake so early in the morning for that.
I've got a tea. It's all good.
Yeah, just see, you would need coffee there.
Oh,
Okay.
I do have a 9 a.m. meeting, so
For Nick. Okay, so we will go fast, Nick, so you can go back to sleep. So, okay, so first of all, I will start sharing the slides, just a small introduction about SEO Nerd, and then we will go on your slide, your talk. This will be recorded, and then at the end there will be some questions. Okay,
brilliant.
let me share the screen. Okay, up. So, slideshow. Okay. Okay, thank you so much for joining SEO Nerd Switzerland. As you can see, it's the first slide of SEO Nerd Switzerland. So, what is SEO Nord Switzerland? Is an association. The goal is like to share knowledge, and we have wonderful speaker like Nick. Then come here. They are coming for free, and they're really helping like people also to learn. We have a YouTube channel where people can follow also there when like and come and have questions. So, okay. So normally I don't speak much about me and Isaline, but in fact, there are regularly new people coming and I have no clue who we are. So we decided to introduce this slide, which is like we are the co-founder of SEO North Switzerland. Now to go more in detail, we both do SEO, obviously. This is the reason why we open a SEO meetup. Isaline is an SEO consultant at Pilea. She specializes in multilingual website. By the way, Isaline is the blonde one. She specializes in multilingual website. What people like clients and appreciate about her is her approach and critical thinking. Okay, this is Isaline again, the blonde one. I am the one with the black hairs, now a bit gray, yeah, with age. But yes, I am Sarah Mokonsayag. I am SEO team lead in agency. The agency called Blue Glass, which is also an award-winning agency, mainly specialized in the DACH market. Normally, I do more tech SEO, but I do almost everything now, and I for maybe one of my strength is really the ability like to work in close with collaboration with other business like designer, front end, and content creator. So this is a bit about Isaline and myself. We are a community, obviously, that is open to everybody. So it's really about discussing also about SEO career. We empower SEO in their career. For example, we promote women as public speakers. For new speakers, what we do, we give them training. Obviously, Nick, she's far, 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 far from being a new speaker. So we don't need training, but he's on the fly with her, obviously. And else can I say? Sharing is caring. If ever you like this episode, you can share the information on LinkedIn or Twitter about us and about Nick because Nick Talk are always full of information, rich information. So I'm pretty sure that this will be a great episode. Now, obviously, we have sponsor because nothing can happen without cash, cash, cash. So we thank a lot Leap, which is one of our sponsor, and the other great sponsor that we have is Working SEO. What can I say about them? Leap is a web and mobile development company. Working SEO, it's more well known for The podcast, however, is a platform for job. And next, the next event it will be a physical event. So we have online event and physical event. The physical event it will take place in Zurich on the 27th of August. It will be in English. We will keep you posted about the guests and everything in the short future. Now, there is my fantastic Nick, who is awake since very, very, was always awake, probably she even didn't sleep. So I will just introduce a bit Nick. Nick, do you have a slide about yourself?
No, I don't.
No, okay. So then I will introduce you quite a bit then. Okay, so Nick is a senior tech SEO consultant at Dejan Marketing, which is also a search award. She's also search award judge. You are a Google ambassador, is that correct? For the women
uh,
in tech?
yep, Women Tech Makers Ambassador, correct.
Yeah, okay. And then you also have a community, the SEO Collective, and Women in Search Australia. So in the reality, Nick, if you think that she's awake at 2 o'clock in the morning, is absolutely normal, because in the reality she does so many things, and it's just that she can't sleep. It's just like it's not a choice. She doesn't have the time to sleep. And on the top of that, I particularly appreciate Nick, let's face it, because I met Nick as SMX. She did like SMX last year. She did a great presentation. She
So
was
did you.
invited. Yeah, but I loved your presentation. And she was invited like then again in Europe. As I said, she's in Australia. She was invited again in Europe. She's really a wonderful speaker. She's funny and I don't know. She's just a great person. So let's go with your presentation now.
Shucks, I'm
Uh,
blushing over here.
now I start speaking. It's up to you.
Awesome. I will share my screen. There we go. How do I do this? I literally just did it before, and now, there we go. Right, so now I've done that, and now I do this, and now I go to slideshow. Can everyone see my slides? Well, can you see my slides, Sarah?
Yes, yes, I had to say yes. But I
Perfect.
said with
Awesome.
the microphone switch on.
Excellent. I can't hear you. I can't see you. So if there's anything that you want to ask, just jump in and ask away. All right, CTR optimization and forecasting. This is something I'm really passionate about. This is a core aspect, the bread and butter stuff. So I'll be delving into that, and we're really just going to explore how to improve organic search traffic without really increasing rankings. So hi, my name is Nik Ranger, and I'm really, really excited to discuss this with you guys today. The key actionable takeaways here, I want to be able to extrapolate a little bit more about maybe why you're losing traffic due to a poor click-through rate, be able to predict potential traffic gain after doing CTR optimization, predicting traffic and revenue after rank increases, and of course, why this is important. I think with a lot of this, again, there is so much that is out there around this, but I really want to just drill back into basics. I thought for this presentation, instead of maybe going into some specific examples, if you guys want to jump in, ask some questions, maybe we could go through a live demonstration, because a lot of the data that I have is using, I don't want to be sharing any client data and things like that. And I wasn't sure how to show that without using Search Console data with real client data. So I'm going to be talking a little bit more on the theory side of things, but if you have questions, jump in the chat, Sarah will ask me, and we can be able to go through that together. All right, so what is click-through rate? So let's just start with the basics. click-through rate is a percentage of users who click onto your search snippet after seeing it. So if your snippet appears 100 times and 10 people click on it, your click-through rate will be 10% because it's essentially like impressions divided by clicks. So, for example, here's a juicy keyword. We've got vacation rentals. We've got 7,841 clicks. We've got 426,942 impressions. Of course, the click-through rate is going to be 1.8% because that is literally the fractional number there. So essentially, like a high click-through rate indicates that your snippet is relevant and attractive to users. This is so crucial because a well-optimized snippet in the second position can often outperform a poorly optimized first result in terms of clicks. And this is really, really key. So there's several factors influencing click-through rate. I've got like a little bit of a word cloud here because I just kind of want to just, go through each of these and maybe just, have a bit more of an extrapolation about them. What we understand about what is the biggest influences that influence click-through rate is the title, the description. So we really want to make those clear. We want to make them appealing. Keywords that we'll use, like your queries or things that you've been able to research, and having like some clear call to actions, maybe something within the title or the meta description that is enticing. So you can ensure that something is super relevant and compelling. Having clarity, having appeal, so avoiding clutter and ensuring that your message is nice and concise. Being able to add some curiosity and a bit more of a message when delivering, something that, again, is wanting to be appealing. A query match and an intent match. We talk a lot about really wanting to understand our target audience, what their concerns are, why they would be looking for that, and really just aligning that title tag and that description and anything else that we can be able to garner, whether that be something from an image or from a site link associated with that, really just to align with that user intent. I've already just talked about it, but like special SERP features, taking advantage of when Google is wanting to experiment or using a query to be able to showcase, like say knowledge graphs, knowledge panels, featured snippets, all the like. Rich snippets and being able to utilize, our schema markup. Again, a lot of this is about data extraction so that we can be able to showcase more information, more contextually rich information about the context of the content on the page. And of course, brand building, brand recognition, and local results. Being able to really leverage your brand and that local presence. And of course, then it, all then goes down to like, the type of devices that people are using, the timing, location, really being able to optimize for that. And again, as us technical SEOs is something that we really do pay attention to, really just to have a really good holistic idea of to be able to optimize for the where, when, and how users, search. I want to maybe take a little bit of a step back and talk a little bit about, again, the API leak that I think is, on everyone's minds. I really have to take my hat off to Dan Petrovich. He was the first person ever to actually discover the API leak. So this is something that we have really wanted to make sure that it has been contained, and there's a whole bunch of information about it at the moment. But nonetheless, I want to talk a little bit about Mustang and about what Google's snippet ranking system looks like. And I guess, again, goes back to why is this all important and why am I talking about these things that influence click-through rate? We have a little bit more of an insight from looking at the API leak and to really, get some really good ideas of what they've been using, what they may not use in the future, but at least to give a bit of a guidance. And really a lot of that when we look at, how Mustang works, and I've just got some little experts here, and obviously I've just got to condense, but really this focuses around content relevance. Having coverage in those titles and headers and snippets is really, really heavily emphasized within the code base. So, the more relevant your content is to that search query, the better your chances are of ranking. This snippet quality, Google has been talking about quite literally for years about quality signals and really, really wanting to focus on that. But Google evaluates that snippet based on factors like the data source type, the snippet length, and the formatting, whether there's any bolding or something that is really easy to read and understand. Those kinds of things are favored. When we look at the actual on-page content, headers are great. We've seen titles being rewritten by using their H1s. Something that I've always really thought has been a really good experiment whenever we're looking at this is to not just maybe influence just the title tag and description, but maybe even also the H1 and again, a lot of the H2s and the way that the page has been structured. But now we have more of that information from there to kind of like confirm that Google is at least paying attention to the headers structure and suggesting the importance of distinct yet relevant headers. Being able to look at when just talking about the content, having it in a way that is extractable and understandable. All these things are considered, like whether there is things are within dot points, whether they're nice and readable. That Kincaid score is great to be able to look at this. But we've been able to even see things like the Radish score, which is something that is indicating like Google's preference for well-structured and informative list type things. So like I was saying, like the dot points, with tables, with, things that are really, really great to be able to see. And with diversity and having user experience metrics, a lot of people have been talking about nav boost and things like that. But again, while we're talking really about click-through rate here, while it's not really explicitly present in the code, user interaction signals like click-through rate and dwell time play a significant role in the ranking of snippets. So this is kind of like what we're really looking at here. And when I'm thinking about the protobuf code, the takeaways here, I think really are going back and looking at this, doing really good, really succinct keyword research, looking at the search console, the queries of what is actually earning those clicks, maybe even just like delving into like understanding why are they earning clicks, why are you losing clicks, and being able to then take it from there. And for all the things that I said earlier about what actually does influence the click-through rate, doing experiments to really start to have a better understanding, a better picture of what's really, really here and at play. Okay, so I've kind of geeked out a little bit there about this about the API link and some insights that we can be able to do that. Again, massive caveat that I think this is a massive thing for Google to have this sensitive little twiddlers being exposed to the wider SEO community. I don't know whether this will be the same kind of understanding of how their ranking algorithms are being informed in the future. But that being said, I think it's still really, really interesting to see, some insights from that and things that we can be able to take away, and maybe just even have a little bit of confidence in that. When we talk about things that do influence click-through rate, and that click-through rate does have a really good influence on the way that pages are ranked and pages are considered for competitive visibility, even just beyond blue links. These are some really, really good insights that we can really be able to garner from here. Okay, so let's talk about data. Now, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about u.algoroo.com. It's a free tool that we have developed and is like I said, it's free. So I'm going to be talking about this. You can be able to build this, in Excel and be able to do this, but let's just go and just talk about the actual data that we'll be using for your analysis. So Search Console. I know it's on the third line here, but Search Console is so powerful. It's so powerful for understanding your click-through rate data. It provides a detailed analysis into how your steppers are performing in search results. And for that, we really are going to be paying a lot of attention to clicks, click-through rate, average position, and I guess, impressions as well. But those are the things that we, clicks, click-through rate, and average position are the ones that we actually use in our modeling. Impressions are more the one that we look to see, answering the why questions. Google Analytics, Google Analytics 4 in 2024, this can be really, really helpful if your client or you are, in-house, really ROI focused, and you're really wanting to sort of, deploy resources to be able to justify, I think, to the wider company what the net value is. Traditionally, that's been an exceptionally difficult thing to do for SEO. Unlike Google Ads, there are things that we really can't be able to do in terms of forecasting. However, with a mathematical model, it can be sort of said with a caveat to say, look, if we've got the conversion rate, percentage value, and we've got the average goal value, or the average transactional value, however you look at, how you're setting your goals up. Reasonably, we could say what an expectation is based on the clicks that you're currently getting with this information, and that's sort of really what we're talking about here. Google Ads is exceptionally useful again for keyword data. I use this to be able to look more seasonally. And I'll talk a little bit more about, again, some caveats with the way that you should think about this data and the way that you should think about the approach. But Google Ads is exceptionally helpful to show how a query for every month of the year will fluctuate. Think about it, like in SEMrush and in Ahrefs and Nik Ranger, and a lot of other, wonderful tools that, are really third-party data. It is an average search volume over the course of, 12 months. So it's really just averaged out. And so you get like a single number. Sometimes when you'll look at it, in different years, I think pillowcases here in Australia, were 12,100, and now there's something like 22,000, I think, flat. So over time, interest in pillowcases has massively increased, which is an insane number. I don't know why I know that off the top of my head, but nonetheless, it does change over time with different factors. But Google Ads can be exceptionally helpful with Google Keyword Planner to be able to look a little bit more at the way that it does change, month to month. So again, I like to be able to add that for that context. But that being said, there are some caveats before embarking on doing any sort of SEO forecasting, because SERPs are non-linear. So, as search has evolved, and we've now in a landscape where we've got Google SGE, or Genos, as we internally are calling it here. We've got search, rich results. We've got Google knowledge panels. We've got knowledge graphs. We've got all kinds of, rich elements like videos, snapshots, all kinds of wonderful stuff that are really just going to draw the attention of the user. There is a wonderful study that, again, that Dan did. You'll probably hear me talk a lot about Dan because I'm his number one fan, and I just happen to get to work with him. But he did a study really around about how users and attention are on screen. They're really just pinballing between things. and that's how the eye naturally, works when they're looking at a page. But again, when we think about that, we are all trying to just garner attention. But again, these things are really, really important to be able to think about. There are special SERP features. Again, we're trying to have Google Ads account for seasonality, but again, from an organic listing, it doesn't. SERP layout shifts and changes, competitor snippet changes. A lot of what we're looking at will be of a sample size. We may look at 3 months, we may look at 12 months of data. But again, there are so many caveats to that. Competitors in how they will enter into the the SERPs and push you up or push you down, depending on who's who in the zoo. And of course, whenever we're doing this kind of data, we really just want to look at non-branded traffic as well. So we're just excluding brand altogether, because that is where all the growth comes from. So there are a lot of caveats really before embarking that. I just really want to take that little moment here just to create some time and space to talk about that. But that being said, we have this tool, u.algoroo.com. It's free. We don't collect any data. We don't get anything. We host it and people use it. And really, we just want to make this open source and available as possible for the betterment of the SEO community. So please use it. There's no support. So, you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Dan, you can reach out to Blake, you can reach out to Mike, or anyone, from our team to ask for support if you do come into snags. But I'm really just going to be talking about this. If you want to be able to build the same thing in Excel, it is completely easy to be able to do so with formulas and whatnot. But again, this is like the easy one to be able to do. So u.algoroo.com, you're going to see something like this. You log in with your your Google email and or wherever you're basically having Search Console and on all of your analytics being kept, so you can be able to pull that in. So let's clean up the data. Again, things I was saying, non-branded data is really the bee's knees. That's what we want to focus on, because people that don't know about you, they have, let's start again with that thought. People who do know about you are probably going to click through to your brand, or your brand plus what you do, or what you do plus your brand. You've kind of already earned that traffic already. People already know you. Half the work's already done. So where the biggest amounts of growth comes from in SEO is your non-branded traffic. So if you're a chess company and your company is called Chess Universe, I don't know, but you want to be able to sell tournament kits, roll up chess boards, chess pieces, all the like, those kinds of queries that are not anything related to Chess Universe. That is what you're wanting to grow. So we want to exclude all the brand queries. We want to exclude, anyone who works there. You might have a really famous founder. So, exclude Dan Petrovich, exclude my name, etc. If we're just looking at our company. And we also want to just exclude the who, what, where, when, why, how. And this is why. If we are doing this for a commercial purpose, informational queries may not be the goal. Makes sense, right? Who are you? Is that going to have a commercial gain? Probably not. Is it going to get traffic? Yeah, sure. But maybe these are the things that we're wanting to exclude. What do you do? What is this? Where can I find you? When are you open? Why is this important? How does this work? Again, really, really great content, informational content, maybe even commercial content where you're sort of, trying to decide between things. That's fine. But we really just wanted to focus on commercial content here. So I've just got that little bit of, helpful regex. Copy that out, screenshot it, whatever you like to do. But yeah, if you just want to focus on commercial queries, just be mindful of, again, what you want to exclude. Sometimes, in particular, I see this a lot of times with enterprise clients. They will also rank for their other brands. If you have comparison type content where it's like you versus the guy they told you not to worry about, maybe we want to exclude that brand. Non-commercial intent, and again, like I said, I like to focus on just the commercial ROI bringing kind of stuff. Sometimes you want to just exclude the whole blog section. There is actually like a filter for like whole subfolders, or you just run your separate CTR test for those kinds of things. But again, I've just written up the why there. But again, if we're really just wanting to focus on revenue, and we really just wanted to focus on things that are going to have a commercial net gain to really address ROI, these are the kinds of things that I would exclude. So that's why I would just want to clean up the data here. This is what it will look like. You can add your Search Console, you can add your Google Analytics here, and then you'll select the the environment that you want to look at, and then it will start collecting. Again, we don't store any of this data. We literally just have it for associated with your personal account. We don't have access to this. Again, all this stuff is available, but I like just to give that caveat. Just if there's any concerns around data privacy, etc., that is purely just for you. We don't see any of that. We will also go through something to also just keep in a note. In the data integrity tab, sometimes we won't capture everything. Fetching all at once, and it'll just be able to pull in all of that. But it will literally have a really, really great way of caching all of your historical data. Yeah, that's great. I have client data from like years ago that we've been able to set up and be able to extract out of Search Console, and it's really, really helpful for us to be able to have that kind of data. And also just like a little window into time. This is pre-migration, this is what was happening. Now post-migration, this is what's happening. And we can do nice side-by-side comparisons. So again, super helpful for a historical context. Now, juicy part, creating the analysis. With this, like I was saying, set the the country to where it's relevant. We do have worldwide, but most of my stuff is in Australia, or America, or in Germany. So set the country. So, you can set your device, you can set the date range, and you can be able to look at your Google Analytics. And through organic, have you extract out your conversion rate, your transactional value, or your goal value, and you can place that in there. For this particular instance, it was like a conversion rate of 3.06%, which is pretty standard, 3%, yay. But a pretty large goal value of $1,200, so nice. When it says that, like the minimum clicks to be analyzed, it's literally just like, if this query has got 10 plus clicks, everything that is 10 plus clicks is going to be built into the model. This is really, really helpful for large clients, of 20,000 page plus kind of stuff, to be able to have that 10 clicks. Particularly if it's a very well-known brand, just to really focus on things that are going to matter. If it is a smaller client, I might reduce that to 3. Or if it's a really, really small client, I'll actually put everything in there, including brand, and just be able to do that. Again, this is just really helpful context if you're opening this up and you're trying to set this up for yourself. I'm just giving you this information for anybody who's, at this point. All your branded keywords, just put them there in one line. Some of my branded keywords, the lists are 80, 90 long. Unfortunately, regex doesn't work in here. I've broken the tool before, so don't put in regex for branded keywords. put them in a list. It will look a little bit crazy, but it will be helpful, trust me. And like I was saying before, if you want to be able to exclude, say, the blog section or the news section or company announcements or whatnot, you can be able to then filter out the URLs and exclude things that way. Now, it will do this. It will take some time. It will cook, but when you open it up and you have a look at the keywords, this is what you're going to see. And again, this is based off a real Search Console environment where we're looking at the average click-through rate distribution. Now, think about this. You are on, you've got position 1. You have 1,679 queries that rank position 1. That's freaking awesome. And from a non-branded perspective, we expect, and statistically, we expect that for queries that are in position 1, they'll have a pretty good click-through rate, because people are going to be able to see that one probably the first. People trust organic results way more than they do ads, as long as they're not being hoodwinked and mistakenly click on it sometimes. But nonetheless, people expect the first result to be the best result. So that has more likely an appeal for people to click through to that. And it makes sense. So when we're actually building out this model, we are looking at all 1,679 queries and taking the average click-through rate across all position 1 queries and saying, what's the click-through rate? What is the expectation? If I rank number 1, what kind of click-through rate should I expect for me, with my data? And it's 13.92%. So on and so forth. Position 2, 9.49%. Position 3, 8.05%, so on and so forth. So what we do expect to see is this nice average click-through rate distribution curve that it literally, is a nice little downward sloping thing like that. And again, these, we've done multiple, click-through rate distribution curves where we've modeled this like for small clients, large clients, medium-sized clients, SaaS clients, e-commerce clients, local plumbing clients, and they all have the same distribution curve. So this to us is a really nice indication that, again, users really do trust the first position, and they will click through to that way more than they will or position 5. And if there are anomalies to the data, there are probably certain queries that have something special about whatever that is happening, that can be drilled down, that can be excluded or included and given that context. But again, this is all from your Search Console, and Search Console is exactly what is happening within Google Search. So this is a really, really good thing for us to be able to understand how many and what expectation that we have. This sets the benchmark, because now we're wanting to talk about the rank-based traffic potential. All right, so we're looking at these thousands of queries. Currently, what we can see here is the current state. So the current traffic that we have is 217,000 clicks from a total of 11,194 queries. So we can see that. We can see what the expected current traffic is based on just the number of clicks that we're currently getting. Now, when you see all one up, what do you think that means? We want to know looking at all the data and having an understanding of if you rank position 2, you have an expected click-through rate of 11%. If you rank position 3, you have an expected click-through rate of 8.05%. If you rank number 3, but your click-through rate is higher or lower than that, and that deviates, that's where you may be losing or gaining traffic. And we want to know why. Like, what are these anomalies? What does the data tell us? And this is the really great intuitive thing about the model. It actually identifies if, how many queries, and the data is pulled out for me here, 5,201 queries of the 11,000 queries in total. Those are the queries that statistically we should have ranked. We should have gotten more traffic than we are based on the click-through rate and based on the rank. And that's why it's like rank-based traffic potential, right? So now we want to like look at these queries and like, okay, well, these have the highest likelihood to be able to move up. So if that were to increase by just one position, so from 8 to 7, from 5 to 4, from 2 to 1, etc., right? That's what our expected traffic gain would look like. So if we were, for these queries that we can pull out and statistically we can identify as ones that, based on what they rank for, we should be getting, these are ones that we feel like have the most opportunity to be able to be optimized and to be able to move. If those queries were just to rank one more, well, our traffic will increase from 217,000 clicks to 423,000 clicks. That's pretty massive. And again, like with all things, we need to have a ceiling. If you guys like, yeah, we want to triple, we want to double, like our traffic, or we want to double our revenue. We've also, said, full potential. What is the absolute, crazy would never exist in a million years, because that's just not how the real world works. Not how engineering works. There is no such thing as 100% efficiency. What if we were, for all 11,194 queries, were to rank number one? That's the crazy thing. But that's also the ceiling, to be able to set that expectation. The full potential would be like, yeah, if we did rank for everything number one, we get 1.1 million clicks. Whew, that's huge. But no, like that's, sorry. There we go. I clicked the mouse unexpectedly. But that's kind of like the ceiling. We now know what that number looks like. Now, I talked before about the conversion rate and the average transactional value. So the profit here is based on the current traffic. So at the moment, like I can see, like from all of the traffic that we're getting, this is the amount of clicks, and based on the conversion rate, based on the average transactional value, I should expect a profit of $694,000. And this is, I think, done for 12 months in time duration. But I should be expecting that in revenue just from organic. That's what that means. So based on that, that's what we should expect. And that's why I was saying, when we're looking at this, I want to exclude, all those, like all of the who, what, when, why, how, blah, blah, blah crap. I want to maybe exclude the blog, because that's not commercial. And that's really, really important when we're looking at, like when we're pulling into things like profit. If we increase the blog, yeah, that's great for traffic, but who cares? It's probably not going to have like a net, positive ROI. So that's where the context comes in. And that's why I was saying that, hey, when we're doing this, clean your data, think about where the data is coming from. And when you're building your reports and where you're wanting to do maybe a revenue extrapolation to forecast what that might look like, it needs to be within the right context. So like I was saying, the profit is just based on the current amount of clicks and the traffic you're expecting. But what about those 500, 201 queries that statistically we're saying, like, based on the data, there's really great some potential here to be able to increase the to increase the rank position here. This is what the profit looks like. So an additional 655,000 $379,000. That's huge. That's really, really huge. I mean, we can see it from clicks. You know, we're basically doubling almost in clicks. And from a profit, we're almost doubling in profit as well. So when we're going back, when we're thinking about this in terms of resources, this is really, really super helpful to be able to have a bit of like a litmus around this. Again, this is to be taken with all the caveats in mind, but this is very helpful. Now, I talked about rank-based traffic potential, but what about the click-through rate? What about the click-through rate? So we can be able to calculate the expected click-through rate for different ranks, and this really helps us set like a realistic performance expectation, and really does highlight our underperforming. So what about the clicks that didn't happen but should have? Love this. I love this stuff. So we can also see, in the same way from before we identified it, the 5,201 queries, and statistically we could be able to influence to be able to increase it by 1. What about all those queries that are losing traffic? What about all the queries that, like we rank 3rd position? We've got a, that's great. Our average position for this is number 3, but our click-through rate should be 8.05% on average. I mean, we've seen this against all the thousands of queries, but the click-through rate for this is actually 1.8%. What's going on here? Maybe Google has experimented with this particular query in saying we think that this is probably the best page, the best query, based on what we understand about the on-page content and where they are at the moment. We will experiment with this one being on position 3. But users are seeing this. Users are it's not that attractive to me. It doesn't really align with what I'm looking for, as much as position 2 and position 1 are, or maybe in position 4. And maybe the competitors have a higher click-through rate. But again, Google does experiments, and we'll see it for a variety and a host of different reasons. But that's where we can be able to isolate these queries and understand why we're missing clicks. And again, we haven't done any work yet. We're just identifying why people are clicking through and why people aren't. That's really the only 2 questions we're answering with these graphs. So again, the same thing, the same model will be able to spit out and tell you that 1,519 queries were responsible for the loss of 13.57% of the total organic non-branded traffic due to unusually low click-through rates. Right, so 1,500 queries are losing clicks that we can be able to identify. So that is that's like 5,710 clicks that we could have had. That sucks. And again, when we look at this, with the current and the full potential, being placed there and the profits, really that's just, placing them there into context. But again, with those queries, we can be able to look at that and maybe find a better query. Maybe this is something we need to go back and when we were talking about Mustang and the snippet ranking, influences. Maybe we can go back and correct these things. Maybe we can improve the on-page experience and really, really help this. And maybe be able to align it a little bit better with, what the page is actually, intended for your target audience. Super, super helpful, right? So this is really what we're wanting to see here. Predicting traffic and gains from rank increases, predicting traffic from predicting losses based on the click-through rate for potential traffic. Now, I've talked a lot about just organic positions, blue links, It's just 1 through to X. But in 2024, there is so much more that is happening right now. And I really wanted to just take a little bit of time and acknowledge this. I've got an extrapolation again using that data we saw from a short snippet of queries that we wanted to analyze. These are the rich results that are displaying for this. Now, with these queries, with even with a short list of queries, what we generally tend to do is we will extract all these queries and we'll put it into, say, Ahrefs or SEMrush, and have an idea of what SERP features actually appear for all these queries, and we'll give them a little arbitrary score. So, say for example, rental vacations, they have 5 SERP features show up for them. They've got people also ask, they've got a knowledge panel, they've got shopping results, they've got a local pack, they've got an image pack, they've got site links. All of those we assign basically a little arbitrary score. And this we can be able to use as contextual things to say, there is more to this query than just meets the eye. And again, I think, going back to what I was saying, with Mustang, basically Google's snippet ranking system, we want to be able to look at more signals to be able to influence what this will look like, and see whether Google is wanting to showcase to users more than just content. Images, videos, tweets. My God, there's a whole social element to things. Whether people are wanting to, understand and tree out with a lot more, informational context about this. So we can be able to look at all these different real estate opportunities and really just start to flesh this out. And those kinds of things, those kinds of signals can really, really influence, again, whether we're going to be more competitively ranked for a snippet or not. So, having things like, adding structured data is really, really great. Formatting your content, having clear headings, subheadings, bullet points, improving the readability, and doing really just, tests and experiments to say, people want to see something real. Maybe, I talk a lot about enterprise a lot, but, small clients doing rental safety checks or fixing appliances or, installing stovetops. Maybe people just really want to get rid of all the garbage and all the spam that exists, with these types of plumbing and electrical services that we see all over the SERPs as SEOs. And maybe they just want to see some real photos. And maybe those are the things that we can be able to mark up, and those are the things we can be able to extrapolate. Some of the most impactful campaigns have been with either collaborations or with a really strong social media presence. Again, it's just about attention. Maybe we should be able to have videos that explain or walk through a process, and talk about certification, and talk about the before and the after, and giving that satisfaction and peace of mind around the services or products that our companies are looking to to showcase or to roll out or to launch, or even just to strengthen in terms of potential buyers' minds, when they're looking, or maybe even when they're not looking. Sometimes that stuff, it works so well passively. But having an idea of with all these queries and addressing the fact that there are more than just on-page content, that there is a rich universe, a tapestry of additional things that Google was wanting to showcase to people, things that are useful for people. We want to take stock into that as well. and we wanted to incorporate this and do channel alignment with our paid media teams or our social media teams, with our digital PR arms, to look at what is actually showing up, and what is doing that. Cindy Crum, a wonderful human, and I'd like to think good friend. um, she has this wonderful explainer in her talks, where she was looking at a query and it was ranked number one, but seasonally something happened to that query where it was still number one but massively pushed down way below the fold, of the screen on desktop and on mobile, because Google decided, around that time there was a massive event, and they decided to put a massive knowledge panel there, and they weren't in the knowledge panel, and they didn't really get attention from that. And because it was, again, a timely event, people paid a lot more attention to that, than the particular query. Go check out Cindy Crum. Wonderful.
Nick,
But
we
that's
don't
a
have
really good example.
sorry, Nick, to disturb you, but we don't have so much time, even if it is very cool. Then we have to wrap it up a bit. Ah, you're
Perfect.
fantastic.
We are
Let us
wrapping it
have
up.
again.
We are wrapping it up. Woo, woo, woo.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that. If you want to be able to add me on LinkedIn, please do so. I'm still on Twitter. Don't tweet as much as I used to, but I lurk there all the time. So add me on LinkedIn, add me on Twitter, reach out, say hello, and of course subscribe to SEO Nerd Switzerland, and follow Sarah and follow Lisa, and all the wonderful things that they're doing, because this is wonderful channel, wonderful content, and it's such a great thing to be a part of. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Nick. I already added you on LinkedIn for information. Okay. Now, on a serious note, Nick, if anybody have question, is the time to ask them. I share your tool and I share then a post about the discovering the leak as a first person. So in case it's in the chat, I would like, if we have 2 more minutes, like ask question, and if you have question in the meantime, what I did when you were speaking, I wanted to test the tool. So I was like, who cares? I mean, I am on my personal LinkedIn, yes, on my personal website, so there is no big deal. So in the reality, we start here. Is that
Mm-hmm.
correct? You put
Yep.
the like,
So just go next. And this is this
yeah.
is this is also, just before you go to that,
Mhm.
what's really helpful. Automatic basically is just you're going to use Search Console if you have access to Search Console. If you're, say, you're wanting to look at like a competitor, or you're wanting to look at a client before you do, you can actually be able to upload a CSV file, just take that data out and be able to upload that. So yeah, that's just where the context is there. So yeah,
Perfect.
next stage, going Search Console,
Next.
linking all that.
Okay, this is my, but I already put my email address. It's tricky. Okay, so here you add your email address and then you connect account. Correct?
Yep. Yep.
Connect account, and you ask me
Oh,
again the
you
email address.
actually need to click on your email.
I need to click here.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I need to select the domain. Okay.
Yep.
Wait a second, just to make sure then it's just my, and then I don't have then
All
no.
the joys of doing things live.
Yeah, okay, yes. Now I can share again. Okay. Screen, so then everybody can see it, like when they see the recording. Okay, so here is the domain, all countries. Who cares? We can select the countries, all countries, and then we start collecting. Okay, and then I guess then he will do the work by himself,
Yeah.
and
And it'll take some time to cook, because it's
yeah,
now going
exactly.
through, and like starting all like basically collecting all of your data.
Exactly. So I think then at least we saw the basic. Now we'll collect the data. I guess then it will take time, so it's not possible to share it now, but at least everybody can see in the recording how that works and is clear. So, okay. So, do we have question? No question coming. Okay. So, I have an extra question, then I let you go to sleep. Because what I
No worries.
particularly like about the method that you're using, you are not using the volume data, which I particularly hate.
Yeah.
So, in the reality,
Just
you
real data, your data, Search
exactly.
Console, Google Analytics, and sometimes if you want to be able to like look at seasonal data, like using Keyword Planner is helpful because it does showcase the different times that you can be able to extrapolate.
So this is one of the advantages and in the reality more than a question that I wanted to point out of this tool that you build with Dan because it's using not the volume that all the tools are giving you, but real data. So that's mean that the click-through rate is calculated on your real data that you have in the Google
Yeah.
Search Console, which is pretty cool. So I will test it today. Okay. I guess, I mean, my website, I guess then is just branded keyword if ever there is somebody coming to my website. Just everybody clicking on my
Yeah.
website just to make it sure.
Yeah.
And
And
tell
for
me.
small sites, you probably want to take into account absolutely everything because I think at the end of the day, you just really want to learn again about what is earning clicks and what is detracting away from clicks. And I think the thing that's really really helpful is that this really is just based on your current data or your current setup. You have done absolutely nothing. There's also an experimentation tab within there that you can be able to say like I'm wanting to run an experiment where I'm going to basically A/B test two different title tags because I see there's a slight difference in the query. There might be uh, uh, you know SEO tech or tech SEO, but they've got exactly the same kind. They rank exactly the same. They've got relatively the same click through rates, got relatively the same, all the same kind of metrics. But we just really don't know which is going to be the one that over time is going to be the best one to be able to deploy. So you can be able to again set up your experiments and be able to track them and see how they play out over time.
Perfect. It's really cool. So last possibility to ask a question. I must be honest. I think that it was very clear. It was like you make it like how can I express that? You make it very, very simple, the explanation. Like the tool, I think then people need to play around, like I was doing. So, Nick, okay, so Nick 1, Nick 2, Nick 3, no question coming, no more question. Okay. So, Nick, good night to you. I will go to have dinner instead. Thank you so much for joining. It was really cool. Thank you, Nick. You're lovely. Ciao.
Thanks so much for having me, Sarah. And thanks, everyone. Please like, please subscribe, hit the notification bell for all the new videos that are coming out for SEO Nerd Switzerland. And thank you so much. Follow them, follow, like, and yeah, if you like the video, please do. Yeah, that'd be great.
Ciao, Michael. Ok.
Thanks.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao, Nick. You were great. Bye. Bye, Nick.
Thanks.
So I would like to say really bye and close it, but I never know where is the button. Okay, let's stop the recording.